Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GAC Midwest's Virtual SME Forum. We're glad that you could join us today for our expert panel discussion on the topic of work and well-being. My name is Justin Flaxbart. I'm the Senior Manager of Recruiting and Consulting Services at the German American Chamber of Commerce, and I'm very happy to be moderating today's discussion. Today's panel is sponsored by our member company, Alliant, and we're actually going to start today with a brief video that introduces our sponsor and their services.
You deserve more from your benefits consultant, and Alliant Employee Benefits delivers it through personal attention and powerful solutions. Alliant Employee Benefits is a division within Alliant Insurance Services, a national leader in diversified insurance products, risk management, and consulting. With 100 offices located across the country, you get the national strength you need, backed by the local expertise that matters. We focus on adding the right people, those who fit our culture of entrepreneurialism, service, and relationships. And with 50% of our company owned by our 3,800 employees, you can count on a high-touch, solution-driven experience. As one of the nation's largest employee benefits brokers, we serve more than 8,000 employee benefits clients, from aviation to agriculture, construction to consumer services, energy to financial services, legal, healthcare, tech. Businesses in every industry turn to us to cut through the complexity. Let Alliant help you find the creative solutions you need for your business. Alliant Employee Benefits, your partner in new possibilities.
And before we begin our discussion today, I just wanted to quickly go over a couple of housekeeping notes, if you will, for our audience. First off, everyone has been muted except for the panelists to avoid background noise. But we will have a Q&A session at the end of the panel discussion. So if you have a question for the panel, please type this into the question box that you'll find on the right-hand side of your screen. And if you want to address your question to a specific panelist, please indicate that within the question itself. One final point, there is a PowerPoint presentation that has some information, detailed information about the topics we'll be covering today, along with the contact information of all of our panelists. And you can access and download this presentation from the handout section that's also on the right-hand side of your screen. So I'd like to welcome today our four panelists. First of all, we have Christiane Bach, First Vice President of Alliant Employee Benefits. We're also joined today by Katie Jablonski, Regional Sales Manager at WellRight, Mark Jackson, Executive Sales Consultant at Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, and finally, Mark Trotter, who is a Human Resources Director at our member company, WITTENSTEIN, bringing, let's say, the employer perspective to the well-being discussion in addition to our industry expert service providers. So let's get to know our panelists just a little bit better here. Christiane, please start off by introducing yourself to our audience.
Sure. Thank you, Justin. I've been in the employee benefits industry for approximately, well, a little over 20 years or so. And the majority of my career has actually been at Mesro Insurance Services before we were acquired by Alliant in 2016. And I'm also a shareholder of Alliant and an employee benefits team leader. And interestingly enough, I was also born in Germany, in Hamburg, Germany. So I speak fluent German, and I also have a lot of clients that have corporate headquarters overseas in Germany that have facilities here in the United States that I work with. And I'd like to just take an opportunity as well and just talk about Alliant's Client Resource Unit. In addition to our employee benefit teams, we also have a separate compliance department that is headed up by our in-house attorney. We have an individual Medicare department as well. So we actually have an individual in that unit that literally knows Medicare inside and out. And she provides educational webinars for our clients, and also will talk to our clients' employees one-on-one to provide them assistance with Medicare and also place Medicare coverage for them. So I feel that that's a really key asset, and it's been a very useful benefit for a lot of our clients. We also have a voluntary benefits unit that provides voluntary product quotations for our clients. And we also have a technology unit where we can provide payroll discounts for certain technology platforms that our clients can utilize. And last but not least, of course, we have a wellness department, which we're here to discuss today about. And within our wellness department, we do have specialized wellness consultants that can work and assist our clients on creating successful strategy wellness programs that do truly prove results.
Excellent. Thank you, Christiana. A final point, you are one of our valued board members as well, so really appreciate your connection to the German-American business community. Katie, please introduce yourself and tell us a few words about WellRight.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Katie Jablonski. I am a regional sales manager at WellRight. I've been with the organization for a little over 4 years now, but prior to joining WellRight, I was always passionate about wellness. I, always was looking for the next workout or, what types of things I should incorporate into my life with meditation or yoga or things like that. So it's been really cool to be able to work for a company that wellness is the main thing that we talk about all day, every day. And I'm really excited to be here and be a part of this panelist presentation and be able to share more about what we do with our clients and how we could help you guys. So thank you for having me.
Glad you're with us, Katie. Mark Jackson, please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a few words about Guardian.
Hi, everybody. Mark Jackson, Executive Sales Consultant with Guardian in the Chicago market. I've been with Guardian for next month will actually be 31 years. Guardian is one of the leaders in the employee benefits space, actually one of the last mutual insurance companies. We've been around since 1860. And wellness is definitely a hot topic. It is something that we're talking about in all the products that we offer now. So very excited, and thanks for the invite for the discussion today.
Thank you, Mark. And our final panelist, Mark Trotter, please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about WITTENSTEIN.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Trotter. I'm the Human Resources Director here at WITTENSTEIN. We are a German-based company. In the U.S., we have about 110 employees, and what we are known for is we are a manufacturer and distributor of gearboxes, servo motors, and aerospace simulation for the industrial automation and motion control industry. So thank you for having me today.
Glad you could join us. All right, let's get started with the discussion then. According to a recent study, 85% of US employers said that employee well-being plays a meaningful role in their overall business strategy. This figure is up from 79% last year in 2019. Christiana, maybe start us off today by defining what employee well-being means in this context, and also explain what it means when companies take a holistic approach to employee well-being.
Justin, sure. A holistic approach really means that employers need to not only focus on physical component needs for their employees, but they also need to focus on their financial, on their mental, and social components as well. There was a recent study just done actually by MetLife that indicated that 71% of employees rely on their employer for their financial safety net. So if employers just offer voluntary products such as critical illness or accident and hospital indemnity plans, that's a good start, because those types of plans will offset medical deductibles and copays. And from a mental illness component, even before COVID, mental illness is very serious condition that is affecting many, many Americans. As a matter of fact, 1 out of 4 Americans have a mental illness, and 1 out of 8 out of the emergency room visits are due to mental illness. So it's really important that employers do focus on educating employees in regards to mental illness, and also really taking advantage and educating their employees on their employee assistance programs. Because employee assistance programs is the most underutilized employee benefit offering there is. So there obviously needs to be a lot more attention and detail and education provided to employees of those particular benefits. And as far as social components are concerned, it really just is referring to making sure that you have annual events within your organization and that you're also offering virtual social events within your organization.
Okay, interesting points. And thank you for setting the stage by kind of defining what holistic well-being means, since we'll be talking about that throughout the rest of the conversation here. Mark Jackson, what trends have you seen in the market related to holistic well-being offerings that are provided by Guardian to your employer groups?
Yeah, there's really three emerging trends that we're seeing. I'm going to touch upon each of them. Christiana actually just mentioned the problem with mental health, actually substance abuse thrown in there as well too. So that's the first one I'm going to talk about is that growing challenge in the workplace on how to deal with those. As Christiana mentioned about the statistics, so 1 in 4 adults are dealing with either mental health or a substance abuse issue. And depression has actually become the leading cause of disability now. So the question is, what can companies do to kind of help out and solve this problem? And one of the best and simplest ways that small and large companies alike can help is by providing a robust employee assistance program. Christiana just mentioned about that, kind of known in the circles as an EAP. So a robust EAP will offer a wide range of services like crisis counseling, which includes face-to-face visits if need be, financial counseling, identity theft, legal services, elder and child care research, and will prep services, just to name a few. Employers looking for EAPs, they could either go directly to the vendor or they could come to carriers like Guardian. We actually provide one as a value-added benefit when companies purchase multiple lines of coverage with Guardian. The second trend that we see is the rise in popularity for worksite products. So worksite products are like accident, critical illness, medical gap plans. These products are they're very popular now because of the financial shift that's occurring within the medical plans. In order to keep costs down, we're seeing employers are electing plans with higher deductibles, higher out-of-pockets, higher copays, and that's really putting a strain on employees and their families. So that's where these worksite products come in. These are specialized products. They're 100% voluntary, and they're actually a very cost-effective way for employees to help manage that financial burden that's created when medical events like an accident, a hospital stay, or a serious medical condition strikes. These products can also help out employers as well. They actually will qualify for discounts on employer-paid life and disability plans when all of them are packaged with the same carrier. The last trend talk about is in surveys we're finding one of the top areas of concern for people out there is the financial stress of student loan debt and the worry about not being able to afford to send their children to college in the future. So there's a lot of talk around that right now, a lot of creative ideas coming out. Guardian, we've actually one of the few companies that have come up with a service. So we've partnered with a company called Sage to provide a college tuition rewards benefit. This benefit is actually tied to each of our products that we offer. So like dental, life, disability, it's tied in there with them. Employees are rewarded each year with points. They get 2,000 points per line of coverage that they're enrolled in per year, and they could get a max of 8,000 points per year. Each point is worth $1, so somebody can get up to $8,000 to be used in college tuition rewards in the future. So employees actually have control over this account, so they can help out. I mean, it's not just for their dependent children, but they can help out nieces, nephews, grandchildren to reduce the cost of tuition when they attend one of Sage's member colleges. In 2019, Guardian members actually redeemed over $12 million in tuition rewards. So this is this benefit, one of the neatest things that I think we've come up with in a while, and it's quickly become one of the most popular products that we offer today.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark, for your comments about recent trends that you're seeing on the market. Katie, I'd like to switch over to you now. Maybe tell us from your perspective at WellRight, what are the necessary elements for a successful workplace wellness program?
Yeah, absolutely. So when implementing a wellness program, we've seen a couple different things that really make a successful program. We've really found through our clients and what things that they've been able to put in place. I would say a really big one is to have leadership support when we're putting in a wellness program. We have found that organizations that have senior or mid-level management participation in the challenges, the activities that we provide, has really generated a lot more participation from the everyday employee into the program. Of course, communication is also really important as well. That's something that WellRight can assist when we're helping implement our technology within an organization. We can assist by providing holistic wellness challenges that are year-round, customized to the company's culture and your population as well.
Katie, I totally agree. I mean, leadership is probably the biggest component in order to have a successful wellness program. As a matter of fact, I have recommended to several of my accounts to actually have quarterly meetings with their management staff in regards to their well-being program, and it's been a huge success. But another really key component in regards to wellness is making sure that you have a wellness team. You want to make sure you have a wellness team because the members of the wellness team are really going to be engaged in the program, and they're also going to recruit other members within your organization to participate in your program. And then, of course, your environment should be a safe environment. It should be a healthy environment for your employees, such as a smoke-free workplace. You can also incorporate healthy foods into the vending machines, and only healthy foods, no bad foods. That is something that some of my groups have done as well. And then a real crucial component is incentives. 82% of employers now are offering incentives for wellness programs. So to not have an incentive really hurts you, because I just don't see you as employer groups getting the participation that you need to have employees participate in your wellness program. And what types of wellness tasks are employers asking employees to do in order to earn an incentive? They're asking them to complete an online health risk assessment form. They're asking them to get their annual physical. They're asking them to participate in biometric screenings. And they're also asking them to participate in wellness program challenges, some of which, Katie, you just mentioned a few minutes ago. So by doing any of these particular types of tasks, your employer will reward you a certain amount for those particular tasks. And the median amount that employers are contributing on an annual basis is about $600 annually. And how are they actually paying out those particular incentives to employees? They're paying them out via debit cards, they're paying them out via charity giving functions, gym discounts, and also premium contributions. And by premium contributions, what I mean is what a lot of employers are doing is if you get a biometric screening or your physical exam and complete a health risk assessment, typically it's those three components. Your cost for your medical employee contribution is going to be less for you and for your family than if you do not do those particular tasks. So that has really been the most popular incentive that we've seen. And then obviously, last but not least, in regards to making sure that you have a successful wellness program, you want to make sure that your strategy is on target, that you are consistently evaluating your program, and hopefully consistently evaluating your program through your wellness team that you have in place that is meeting either on a monthly or quarterly basis. And hopefully within your wellness team that you also have different departments within that particular wellness team to continually encourage to get that message out. So if your wellness team is meeting on a consistent basis, then you should be able to consistently evaluate the strategies and evaluation of your program to continue the momentum and continue good participation within your program.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Christiana. Mark Trotter, I'd like to go over to you now. WITTENSTEIN has actually won awards from the National Best and Brightest in Wellness for 6 years running. So first of all, congratulations on that remarkable achievement. I'd like you to please tell us a little bit about the wellness strategies that WITTENSTEIN has put into place that's made these programs so successful over the years. And I do believe that we actually have a few slides to show here to accompany your remarks.
Yes, thank you, Justin. And Christiana and Katie really covered some of the main things that we do, and I'll go over some of the additional things that I think really put us over the top in some areas in terms of wellness. So for example, leadership support. At WITTENSTEIN here, our executive leaders support the wellness initiatives, but more than that, they participate in the wellness initiatives. For example, the annual 5K, they show up and run or walk in the annual 5K. And it's really important for the employees to see that, and that really helps participation even more. Secondly, wellness champions. We have a wellness team, as Christiana described, and it's consistent of people outside of HR as well. And I also think that helps participation. And our wellness team is meeting monthly, going over which programs to provide, which programs are going well, which ones are not, what can we do to improve the program moving forward. Another component, communication, I think Katie had mentioned, we partner with Katie's team at WellRight, and they're able to provide information about the monthly and annual challenges to our employees directly. But in addition to that, one of my staff, I have that person send out monthly wellness newsletters on various topics, whether it's nutrition, exercise, just to kind of keep the momentum going. And then also she sends out information on promotionals, programs that are coming up within the next few days or in the next few weeks, so employees have time to prepare for that. Another component is environment. I think Christiana talked about that. For us, one of the unique aspects that we do is we provide fruits and vegetables for employees for free 2 times a week, and that's something that's very appreciated by them. In addition to that, we offer a couple lunch and learns on various wellness topics throughout the year. We have a smoke-free campus, which is also important. And lastly, we provide a couple outside events, as I mentioned, the annual 5K, which is a really popular program to employees. Christiana also mentioned incentives. That's really important for participation. Some of the things that we do here at WITTENSTEIN is through the WellRight program, as people participate, they earn points, and the more they participate, the more points they earn, and then they can redeem those points in for financial rewards. Maybe it's an Amazon gift card or a Visa gift card or something along those lines. In addition to that, we do provide discounts for medical premiums. It's around 20%, and that is if an employee completes a health risk assessment and does an annual biometric screen. So those are a couple things that we do to incentivize the employees. And then one of the other unique aspects that we do at WITTENSTEIN that's somewhat unique is we offer 50% reimbursement up to $500 for wellness related purchases. So what is that? That could be gym memberships, it could be gym equipment, it could be running shoes, bicycles, anything that's promoting an active lifestyle. And then lastly, strategy and evaluation. The wellness team is constantly reviewing the program along with myself to see what can be improved, what are we doing well. If there's an area that we're not doing well, okay, maybe we'll target that with some newsletters and other programs in the future. So if we can go to the next slide, I can talk a little bit about some changes that we made in the last couple of years. So we had a good program up to a couple of years ago, but we were missing a few things. And one of the things was we didn't have a year-round wellness focus. We had some weekly challenges, we had some monthly challenges, and we got together and said, what can we do to have a year-long program? So we talked with Christiana, and we ended up we picked WellRight, and
What do you mean
they have a great
settling?
program.
We showed you three
Wrong
vendors.
word, sorry. Not
We
settling.
showed you three.
They're a great program, and I'll really explain why their program is really well. Their program is very easy to use. It's very convenient. They have a variety of different programs. So anytime there's anywhere from 10 to 25 different challenges available for employees. So not everybody wants to do the same things. And so that's why we like that variety. Their platform syncs with fitness devices such as Fitbits and Garmin's, which is just another convenient aspect. And then there's mobile phone apps for iPhone, Android, so people can take their wellness with them wherever they are, which we really like. As mentioned earlier, employees can earn points for rewards. And then WellRight also provides some really good reports and tracking for us. So since we started this with WellRight, we've seen improvements on a company level regarding A1C, BMI, blood pressure, glucose. And then on the individual level, we've seen people have weight loss. We've had some quit smoking, some have improved their eating habits, and then others have increased their physical activity. So it's really through the WellRight, and thank you, Katie, for your program. It's really helped us take it to the next level, I believe.
Yeah, and Mark, I was trying to interrupt you earlier when I was laughing when you said settled instead of moving directly to the WellRight program. What I was just going to say, I was laughing because we actually showed WITTENSTEIN 3 different type of technology vendors to choose from. So they really had an opportunity to look at a vendor that was extremely high priced, had a ton of bells and whistles to them, and then they looked at WellRight platform, which really does have a lot of bells and whistles, which Katie will obviously go over, but is priced, much more reasonably than the higher priced vendor. And then we also looked at vendors that were priced, not even not in the middle range like WellRight, but couldn't offer all the necessary bells and whistles that WITTENSTEIN was looking for, such as being able to go online and get gift cards and have them be sent out right away. And additionally, Mark, do you want to talk about a little bit about the struggles that you had prior to not having, annual events for wellness programs? Because I think there was a lot of struggle going on by not having it be consistent. We weren't really seeing the participation, correct? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes, that is correct. We had some participation, but we didn't have it to the levels that we really liked. And so some of the feedback, and we had asked employees, what are you looking for? And some of the wellness team said, we need something that's all year round. And that's where, we reached out to you and looked at the different vendors, and WellRight fit what we were looking for in terms of convenience, easy to use, and all the bells and whistles. So employees have really enjoyed it. And for example, I get feedback constantly in terms of that people are just happy we have this type of platform.
Mm-hmm. I really do think having it year-round is the key, because previously when WITTENSTEIN was doing it quarterly, you just weren't seeing the participation that you needed.
All right, interesting points. So let's bring Katie in here to talk a little bit more about this technology platform. I'm hearing here, of course, that you need the leadership, you need good communication, you need good incentivization, but you also need a good technology platform to administer and run this whole wellness and well-being program. So Katie, tell us a little bit from the technology perspective, how these sorts of platforms, WellRight specifically, can promote this overall well-being would be interested specifically to hear how this technology can increase participation. And follow the question, a little bit unrelated, but would be interested to hear also kind of how COVID-19 has affected the well-being strategies and if this has played into the technology platform at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Mark Trotter, he kind of touched on a few of these topics as far as like our technology at WellRight. So we are a wellness platform, on the computer, but we also have other different ways, that their employees can access it. So we've got a mobile app, so iPhone or Android, they can access it. We've got text tracking. They can track on their wearable devices. So Mark mentioned Fitbit, Garmin, Apple Watches. So having that technology piece is huge for our clients because it does bring everything together. It does allow them to have a year-long program, and it also makes it fun. It kind of gamifies the program. So it's a points-based program where when people are doing different challenges and activities, they're accumulating points and competing with their coworkers and making it a little bit more social too, which I think our clients and their employees really like as well. As far as the situation at hand with COVID-19 going on, we were really able to easily, create programming for our clients because of the flexibility of our technology. We're easily able to get into it, configure something new, even mid-year, mid-program for our clients as well. And because it's all virtual, no matter where your employees are working, whether they're at home or maybe coming back to the office a little bit or, continuing to work throughout the whole situation, because our program is virtual, it really does work. It's never needed to stop for those clients. We were really able to, again, like add in content for the specific, situation that we're dealing with here in our country. So, educational information with our e-learning. We were able to put in classes about financial stress, coping with grief, meditation basics, different things to help with, stress relief. So really being able to get that education to our clients and their employees. We were also able to put in different challenges and activities that they could actually put that, into practice. Being able to, have different programs, such, a couple examples. One that I really like, we call walkie-talkie. So it's basically you go for a walk outside and you talk to one of your coworkers. We're all kind of missing the conversations that we just kind of have in the office. So that's been nice. Just call up one of your coworkers and go for a walk. So kind of physical and social. Another one, daily plan. When everyone was virtual and maybe they never worked at home, they were kind of lost with, what am I going to do each day? How do I manage my schedule? So we made a challenge that's daily plan. Every morning they write down, kind of what their to-dos are, what their list is. And another one, now that people are, starting to go back to their offices, we have one that's called Wipe Down. So basically sterilize your workstation, at least once a day, if not more, when you go out, maybe sterilize it again. So they're just being able to track that on their mobile device, which is super easy. So lots of different ways that we were able to help, which has been, really nice to see.
Great. So are the employees earning points then for this sterilization efforts?
If the client wants them to, then yes, yeah, we can put points for it.
Great. Customization sounds like another key thing I'm hearing here. Can't have a one-size-fits-all approach because no two companies are different. And that kind of leads me to the next topic I'd like to talk about with the panel, and that regards, multi-generational workforces. I believe WellRight actually put out a multi-generational trend study either earlier this year or last year that found that 89% of professionals indicated that they consider a multi-generational workforce to be something that makes their company more successful. But of course, there are challenges in managing a multi-generational workforce, specifically when it comes to these sorts of wellness programs. An employee in their 60s might not have the same health issues, mental health, financial health, or otherwise as somebody in their 20s. So Christiana, maybe tell us a little bit about this workforce demographics issues and what some of the key findings of this study were per your understanding.
Sure. Well, for the first time in modern history, we actually have 4 generation groups working together in the workforce. So just think about that for a minute, because you can have, a 50-year differential in age. So the first generation group is referred to as the baby boomers. And the baby boomers are the individuals that work with you that are in their 60s and their 70s and their 80s. And we're all living longer. So they're all working longer too, and extending their retirement. And this particular demographic represents about 15% of the workforce. But companies really like the baby boomers because of the fact that they're loyal and they're stable employees, and obviously they bring a lot of experience within their field to the table to organizations as well. And the second generation group is referred to as Generation X. Generation X are the individuals that are in their 40s and in their 50s, are currently in their child rearing stages, and they may even be taking care of older parents, for example. And they also are ones that have a tendency to participate the least in wellness challenges, probably because they're busy taking care of their children and all the their elderly parents, perhaps. But they represent approximately 33% of the workforce. And companies do like this particular group because they're very independent and they're also very strong-willed. The third generation group is referred to, which I'm sure all have heard of, is millennials, right? Which represent about 40% of the population in a workforce. So they typically are very interested in work-life balance. They want to have the option to work from home. And this is a group that will definitely participate in wellness programs. And they actually want to make sure that there is a wellness program available for them. And the fourth, but not least, generation is referred to as Generation Z. And Generation Z are the individuals that have just graduated from college. They're in their early 20s, and they're learning still, right? But the good thing that we found out about this particular group of employees is that they really appreciate the feedback from their mentors, and they want to be trained and they want to do a good job in the workforce. Now, Katie, back to Justin's initial, question. WellRight did do a study in regards to the generational groups, and what I thought was really interesting and key was the findings that you found in regards to the medical conditions that tend to be a little bit more high or a little bit low amongst the groups through your health risk assessment. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as you said, we have conducted a study of our book of business based on our health assessment results, and tying that into if the companies did biometric screenings as well, to have those 4 different groups that you had just touched on, what their different risks are, and then also some recommendations that we would have. So I can go through that kind of in the same order that you went through. So starting with baby boomers. So their top risks that we have found through our research is chronic pain and obesity. So based on that, some recommendations that we would have for this generation would be some weight management programming. So either through our activities and challenges, our educational content, also health coaching might be a good one. Baby boomers are, a little bit more wanting maybe some of that human interaction versus just using technology. So we do have that as an option too, to kind of combine technology with the coaching. The next generation, Generation X, their biggest risks were obesity, also depression and diabetes. So again, a good group to target, they're going to be in the workforce at least 10 to 20 years, if not longer. And they were the second group for overall engagement. So, willing to participate, willing to, be in a wellness program. So definitely a good group to target, because there are, several risks there. They're getting to that point in their life that maybe they need some help with some different well-being tips and different strategies. The third group, millennials. So, as Christiana mentioned, they're 40% of the workforce. So they're a big piece of the workforce. They're definitely a really good group to target. They're young and they like to participate in wellness. They're looking for wellness in their lives. So really, a good group to target, in your demographic. They definitely participate the most in the wellness program, what we've seen. But they do have, just like the other groups as well, they do have a couple different risks. What we've seen through our study was depression and heart disease were the two biggest kind of risks that the millennial population had. So really being able to target, those types of programs is something that we would recommend to our clients too. Millennials also, they really like social challenges. So especially like the one I mentioned, the walkie-talkie challenge, this would be something good, for this type of population. They want to have that social aspect and also the community type aspect too. So like volunteering, different social things like that is definitely a good thing to target to the millennial group. And then finally, Gen Z, they're the newest, to the workforce. They're not a huge part of the population yet, but they obviously will be, as the older generations are retiring. Gen Z will, come in and be a bigger part of it. But for right now, they are kind of in their entry level, first jobs right now. But what we've seen, as far as their risks go, anxiety and insomnia are two big ones that we saw through our results. So really being able to target that, maybe some, sleep habits, stress relief, getting to the root of the insomnia, some education around that as well. So being able to have some different activities that would relate to the anxiety as well as the insomnia too. Another interesting fact that we found through our study was that Gen Z was not getting their annual physicals as much as the other populations were. We're not, obviously we're not positive exactly why that was. Maybe it's, they're new to the workforce, they're just getting on their own insurance, they don't, kind of understand all those benefits as far as preventative care. So they're definitely a good group to target, preventative care, biometric screenings as well, something maybe to think about for Generation Z, just to make sure that they are getting that care. Even if they are young, it's still an important habit to build within the younger generation. And something that we saw kind of overall, kind of overarching for everybody, people really like physical fitness type challenges. So the steps challenges, tracking with, your Fitbits, your Apple Watches, things like that. They're all needing financial wellness. They're all kind of in different stages of their life, but finances are a piece of, each generation, kind of what they're thinking of, whether it be, how do I start my 401k, or am I going to have enough in my 401k if, you're getting close to retirement? So, different types of financial type questions. So really being able to customize a program, as we've kind of talked through during this presentation, being able to customize the program, personalize it, is definitely a big piece of wellness, just kind of based on having 4 generations within the workforce. So being able to customize and personalize, I think, is something really important.
Excellent. Really interesting insights there, Katie. I particularly, as a recruiting professional, was interested to hear, about the millennials specifically and how they're actively looking for this when they're, evaluating job options and potential employers. So, Mark, just a quick question to you. When you are recruiting, let's say, millennials for open positions on your team, how does Wittgenstein go about, let's say, marketing themselves based on the excellence and your track record with these wellness programs to really make these people aware that that's a strong part of your company culture?
Well, yeah, we really try to educate them on all the programs that we offer and get them really excited and engaged in those programs. But what Katie was talking about, the Generation Z, some things I think to try to get them more engaged in the process is offering, like we said before, discounts on insurance premiums. Money talks and money motivates. And so in addition to that, if you can have a platform like a WellRight or others where they can earn points like we do, so if they do their biometric screens or annual exams, they're getting points just for those things that they should be doing anyway, but they're also getting financially rewarded for it. So those are a few things that we've tried to do to really get them engaged as soon as they start.
Okay, excellent. Over to you, Mark Jackson. Now, we're talking a little bit about, of course, preventative care. Maybe dig a little bit deeper and tell us from your experience at Guardian, what kind of impacts this preventative care focus or lack thereof, and maybe among the workforce, what can that have on the overall employees' health outcomes and, of course, the employer's financial bottom line when looking at all of these healthcare and maybe other costs associated with preventative care?
Yeah, so preventive care, it's not just about the medical and going to get your routine physicals done. It's also about dental, going and getting your routine cleanings done, and vision, going and getting your eye exams every year. When we look at dental, there's a lot of studies now that are showing the correlation between good oral health and good overall health. In fact, like 57 different medical conditions are now linked to gum disease, which is kind of crazy. So the most prevalent of them are diabetes and cardiovascular disease. So routine cleanings, you definitely need to promote those and promote individuals going, not just for the health and well-being of the employees, but also in these studies, you look at it actually for the total cost of the dental and the medical plans as well too. Studies have shown that dental plans that have higher preventive care utilization on average ended up with 20% lower total expenditure on their dental and medical plans as well too. So it's interesting in these surveys as well that employees, when you pull them, 75% of them say that they have good oral health. But the problem is when you look at the details, 1 in 4 don't even go to the dentist at least like once a year. So they don't even really know that they may have an issue there. The generations, interesting to look at that. So millennials are actually the worst when it comes to going and getting their routine cleanings. Only 40% of them are going, compared to 56% of the Gen Xers and 66% of the baby boomers. So you look at like what can employers do to help promote preventive care and enhance the oral health of their employees. So some features that they can add onto their dental plan here. Max rollover, so maximum rollover. So this is the ability to roll over portions of your unused annual maximum to be used into future years. In order to qualify for this, an individual has to go at least once, go and get one cleaning a year. Other features that they can add in that will help promote this well-being, adult fluoride coverage, extra periodontal cleanings that go along with the routine cleanings, oral cancer screenings, and dental implants as well, too.
Okay. Excellent. So one final thing I wanted to talk about before we open up, let's say, Q&A with the audience. And as a reminder here, please get those questions into the chat box here and we'll get through them. But specifically at the German American Chamber of Commerce, we work with and support a lot of very small companies to start. We are having the SME forum today. So some of these companies maybe just have 1, 2, a handful of employees when they enter the market for the first couple of years. But of course, they would also have an interest, let's say, in incentivizing and encouraging the overall well-being, health, financial, otherwise of their employees. So open question to all of our panelists, what sort of strategies or recommendations would you have for these small companies, as I said, maybe with one person? Are there ways to combine these platforms with other companies so that they can get that social competition aspect of these challenges? Or what would you recommend, as I said, just to these small companies in how they can get the wellness and employee well-being piece right?
Well, Justin, sure, I can step in and answer this question for you. With small companies, like even companies that are under 50 employees, they still have access to the carrier wellness platforms. So what I mean by that is, carriers offer their insured members the ability to go online and complete a health assessment. So they can go online, complete a health assessment, put in what their blood pressure is, their glucose levels, their cholesterol, answer how often they exercise, for example, per week, whatever those particular questions are going to obtain to in the health risk assessment form. And they too will get a report back from the insurance carrier that they're completing the health risk assessment form online in regards to tools that they can use on the insurance carrier's platform to better their overall health. And they will also have access to the insurance carrier discounts to obtain points like larger groups over 50 do as well, for doing 8,000 steps a day, let's say. So the smaller groups still do have some access to really important wellness initiatives and programs that are through their insurance carriers on the medical side. And then obviously they're still going to have access to a lot of the points that Mark Jackson brought off from the Guardian side. Even though that you are a small employer, you're still going to be able to have a lot of the bells and whistles available too from on the dental perspective as well, from like a preventative rollover and vice versa. But I do want to address, Mark Jackson, what you had indicated in regards to diabetes. This is really, really, really important right now. Diabetes is one of the leading medical conditions in the US right now. And it's so easy to be, prevented in the sense that if you are getting your annual physicals done, you are going to see that you are pre-diabetic, and you can make lifestyle changes, which I know that part's not as easy, right? But if you were to quit smoking, if you were to move more and walk more, you can avoid becoming a diabetic. And employer costs for diabetes is about $7,800 a year. There's a ton of complications with diabetes. If it's not attained appropriately, you can get a heart attack, which costs anywhere, around over 140,000 approximately a year with heart attacks. If it turns into dialysis, that's about $30,000. Just a month for dialysis to potentially have to have a kidney transplant done. So I can't stress the importance of preventative cares. For any larger groups that are particularly listening to this particular webinar, and if you're a manufacturing company and you have hourly employees, putting in a written policy, if you're not doing a premium differential in the medical employee contributions, in the sense that you'll pay for them for a couple of hours to get their preventative exam, is really worth the money in order to do that. Because I can't stress enough the avoidance of medical conditions to be able to be avoided through preventative exams.
Okay, good points. Anything to add from any of our other panelists? Okay, so I have a question here that came in. What are the most important non-traditional benefits that you would recommend to German companies to offer to their US employees, I guess related to well-being, or maybe any other topics related to just employee benefits?
What do you mean by non-traditional, Justin?
I don't know. It's not my question. I would assume, from my perspective, at least from the recruiter perspective, the traditional ones tend to be some sort of retirement planning vehicle, either a 401k or an IRA plan. And of course, obviously, health insurance, generally considered also to include dental and vision. But beyond that, I suppose any other sort of benefit or perk would be maybe non-traditional. I think maybe an example that Mark gave is this a 50% reimbursement to buy yourself a new bicycle, or a gym membership, for instance, might qualify. So maybe some examples along those lines from some of our experts here.
Yeah, I would even add, I think maybe Mark talked about it, or somebody did, critical illness and some of those other voluntary benefits it can be really a nice offering to employees. Not everyone is going to participate, but if you can make those available to those people, that really goes a long way. So I see those as some of the non-traditional benefits.
And also offering pre-tax benefits such as flexible spending account, transit, and dependent care accounts as well goes a long way from a financial perspective for employees since they're pre-tax too.
We've also seen some of our clients and even us internally at WellRight, our employees, we've done some like virtual type workouts. So some of our clients were doing like in-person workouts where they would bring in a yoga instructor or bring in, you know, whatever type of workout instructor that they wanted to do, like, you know, around lunchtime or after work. But what we've seen and what we've been asked, you know, how do we do this virtually? A lot of our employees are at home. So a nice benefit, you know, non-traditional for sure, you know, is doing like a Zoom yoga class or, you know, some type of webinar to do some workouts. So that's been a really cool feature that we've been able to do at WellRight too.
Okay, yeah, great. Finding ways to keep everyone engaged and connected and active and safe, of course, socially distanced yoga, if you will. So we've talked a little bit about today about customization, and of course, no two employers, excuse me, are the same. So maybe let's dig a little bit deeper into what's entailed in the process of customizing a holistic well-being program for a company. What steps are actually taken, either Marktrotter from the employer perspective or any of our other panelists from the service provider side?
Well, a lot of the customization that we offer is thanks to our partner WellRight, that we have different programs that can meet different employee needs. So like you said, and we went over those different groups of people, all have different desires and different things that they want to participate in. So a lot of those unique aspects of customization we have through the WellRight platform, but we also try to do some others above and beyond that, just through some of the things that I had mentioned today.
And the easiest way to figure out, you know, what your employees are looking for is to do an employee survey in regards to wellness, which we have several that we provide, you know, to our clients so we can get the appropriate feedback needed in order to figure out how to customize certain programs. I think the key there is definitely just getting the necessary feedback from employees as well to make sure that you are providing the right programs in regards to your wellness program.
Excellent point. So kind of building it bottom up rather than top down. Sorry, Katie, I interrupted you.
I was going to say, I'll piggyback off that. You know, surveys, definitely a big one, seeing what's going to motivate your employees. What incentives do they want? You know, do they want gift cards? Do they want a premium discount? You know, what do they want in that regard? But also with the program, I mean, we're able at WellRight to look at aggregate data of like where your workforce is at. You know, what do they need help with? Do they need stress relief? Do they need help with their sleep? Do they need, you know, heart health type of education? So we're able to look at our reporting and go from there too to help our clients customize it as well.
Interesting. Great. So here's a question. Have any of you seen, let's say, market regional differences? You know, the US is a big country in terms of how maybe an employer in California might be customizing and offering a wellness program or holistic well-being. Let's think beyond just health wellness to what maybe a company on the East Coast or Midwest would do.
I can jump in there, and it may sound like I work for WellRight. I don't really work for them, but that's another aspect that has really helped us as we have some regional employees from California to the East Coast to Florida, Texas, and this WellRight platform helps all of our employees really engage wherever they're located. So that's a couple things that's helped us.
We've also seen, you know, same as what Mark was just saying, we have a lot of clients that do have multiple locations around the country, even some international. So being able to have like a local 5K, you know, a Chicago 5K for those employees, but then down in Texas, they want to have a different 5K or a different charity event that they want to do. So we'd be able to show just the relevant information to them. So yeah, I mean, definitely customizing it, you know, kind of going with what we were just talking about by their region, by their location. Someone in California might care more about, you know, a certain type of eating habits or something like that too. So we can definitely do that for that location as well.
And I'd just add in the, you do have different laws and legislations that come into play as well too, especially when it comes to, you know, a hot topic is about paid family leave. So you have states that are already doing paid family leaves and states that are doing short-term disability plans that are run through the states as well too. So that definitely comes into play.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to my survey because every department is a little bit different. Every company in a different state is a little bit different, even internally within the same company, as I work with a lot of companies that have different locations across the United States. And it's surprising to see the different interest levels in regards to wellness in the different locations. So again, it really just goes to doing your homework ahead of time and doing those surveys and also knowing your culture. And making sure that you are providing, you know, the necessary programs that, you know, employees are really going to be interested in being involved in.
Excellent. All right, I have another question coming in here, something we haven't touched on yet, I don't think, in our conversation. Are there any legal or regulatory considerations that companies need to keep in mind when developing and administering their well-being programs?
Yes, I mean, no, Mark, go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
I was just going to say there are some that you just want to make sure that you're not discriminating against, you know, as you're setting up programs, you're not discriminating or leaving out any specific targeted groups. But I'll let Christiana add anything else if she. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, absolutely. The first thing that just came to mind is that if you are going to do a wellness program and have medical employee contribution differences, you want to make sure that you file, you know, you're compliant with the guidelines. You know, for example, you know, having a $200 monthly, you know, premium differential is typically going to cause most employers to be out of compliance. But the chances of an employer, for example, being out of compliant is really slim. For employers, for example, that are putting smoking surcharges on premiums, you know, the maximum that they can do is 50%. So, I mean, it's hard to be able to be compliant from that perspective. But to Mark's point, I mean, you want to make sure, you know, what you're offering, you know, you're not discriminating.
Excellent points. Any other questions from the audience? Don't be shy. Get them in now, because I think we've got about 10 minutes left here scheduled for our panel. Okay, well, nothing's in yet. Maybe some people are still typing. Let me just open up to the panel. Any final comments or things we might not have gotten to yet that you think might be worth mentioning here to the audience before we wrap up today's discussion? I guess
Mark, the only thing I can think of, Mark Jackson, if you want to talk about, I mean, you know, with COVID right now, you know, medical costs, you know, have been down over the last few months. Dental costs, you know, claims coming in the door have been down as well, because individuals haven't done their elective procedures and been able to do that. Do you want to talk about some of the things that Guardian has done in regards to COVID? Like with your preventative rollover feature, for example?
Yeah, we've actually come out and from a couple different components. So one is from a coverage standpoint is for those employers that were having to furlough employees, do temporary layoffs. We were offering and still are offering to be able to work with them to extend coverage out. As long as premiums are paid, we're able to extend coverage out for their benefits so people don't fall on even more of a hardship than what they're dealing with from COVID. And then we also did, from a benefit standpoint, is we've enhanced the benefits. The maximum rollover feature I mentioned, we're actually going to put an extra $100 into everybody's rollover account. We're not, because they aren't able to go or haven't been able to go because of COVID. We were waiving that preventive care visit for this year. It will be back in next year, hopefully. And we also are doing a choice of either a 1 month premium credit or doing a multi-year, like 2-year rate guarantee on dental and vision. The employers are able to take a pick of which one they want to do as well.
Great. All right. So any final questions, either from the audience or maybe a panelist to panelist question? Otherwise, I guess we can wrap this up a couple minutes early here. Oh, here's one. Do any of our panelists, 1 second, let me pop this out. It's kind of small. Where did it go? Sorry, I clicked the wrong button here. Are the panelists seeing priorities of benefits to keep when companies are facing tough financial decisions? Interesting question. So if sales are down and revenues are down and you've got to make some cuts somewhere, maybe don't want to furlough your employees, are there cost savings to be found, or are you seeing trends in terms of which sort of benefits, employee benefits, are on the chopping block, if you will, for cost cutting?
I can't speak for everyone, but one of the things we've said here at WITTENSTEIN is we want to try to maintain and keep the employee benefits we have for employees, especially the health insurance and medical and dental and some of the things that Mark offers. It's just really important during these times to keep as many of those. I think it's an excellent question, but in our case, we're keeping it. Granted, it can always get worse. Knock on wood, it won't. But as of now, we're able to keep all of our benefits.
Okay, excellent.
I think the just to add, piggyback on there, is that we haven't seen necessarily the benefits going away, this benefit or that benefit, but people are getting creative to be able to maybe custom tailor the benefit a little bit different to save money. All of the benefits that are offered, except for medical, can be offered on a voluntary basis. So we've seen employers maybe switching some employer paid benefits to be voluntary. We've also seen some different cost sharing that is going on. So instead of fully insured dental, companies may be willing to take on a little bit of risk with that and do either like a level funded or doing a partially self-funded dental and vision plan as well.
I just thought of one that I've experienced at other companies, and not necessarily at WITTENSTEIN,
Sure.
but during tough economic times, one of the benefits that can get cut or postponed, I would say, is a 401k match. That's something that companies do take a look at from time to time during tough economic times. At a company I was at previously, back in 08-09, that's something that we did. We suspended that for a period of time until the economic situation improved.
Okay, certainly understandable. What recommendations would you have then, Mark, or any of our other panelists, to how best to communicate, let's say, some of these unfortunate decisions that have to be, made in terms of cutting different sorts of voluntary programs or employee benefits programs, excuse me. How best can you communicate that to the team to get their buy-in, if you will?
Well, certainly that's a tough one. But I think the best strategy is just be honest and communicate to employees and explain to them the economic situation. If your company's sales are down, just really go over that and help people understand that these are measures that you're trying to do without having larger impact to employees. So, sometimes the company might say, well, I don't really want to share some of the bad news, but I think it's just better to be honest. I think employees really appreciate that much more, and they understand it more. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, and I think it's also important, but a lot of my clients do this already, but I do have a few that could potentially provide a little bit more benefit offerings in regards to different plan designs, specifically on the medical. And I think the key is to offer different types of plan designs, such as a PPO plan with a larger network, a PPO plan with a smaller network, having an HMO in place if you can. And then where we really come in and help employers is design those potential offerings in regards to how they're structuring their employee contributions as well. So you might not have to take necessarily plans away. You can add plans that are going to be a little bit more cost effective, but it's going to cost, unfortunately, your employees a little bit more money if they want to keep those richer plans. And just like what Mark was indicating, Mark Jackson from Guardian, is if it really does come down to the need to take, no longer contribute to a dental plan, you won't be able to contribute to a dental plan per se, but at least they still have the benefit offering. And most importantly, I agree 100% with Mark Trotter. Honesty, definitely, to me, is the key to communicate why any type of changes are happening. And we've seen that, that happened in different situations with different employer groups. And when you're honest and open about any type of changes, it's always very well taken for the most cases from the employee's perspective.
Yeah, another thing I would add to that just real quick is, if you can, you want to say this is hopefully only a temporary situation. It's something, if you reduce a benefit for some reason, say, okay, we plan to bring it back at some point. I think that's also helpful for employees to know that, okay, this is just a short-term thing. Now, granted, with COVID, it's a little bit tougher because none of us really know when the economy is really going to come back. And so that, does put a wrench in it a little bit. But I think if you can explain that, yeah, these are only short-term things and we want to get back to normal as soon as possible, I think that also goes a long way.
Yeah, and for my employer groups, specifically, in manufacturing and that have hourly employees, this is more pertaining to some of the larger groups. What I've seen is they've actually not laid off as many employees, but they have cut salaries in order to still keep their employees and still be able to employ them. What I've seen the most is just the cutting of salaries, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, looking at the clock, we've hit the end almost of our budgeted time here. So once again, would like to thank Alliant for sponsoring our panel discussion today. Of course, all of our panelists for their insights and knowledge shared. And of course, also a big thank you to our audience for joining us. Before I close off the webinar, if anyone hasn't done it yet, you still have time to go to the handout section in the box on the right hand of your screen and get down the presentation with some of the topics we've been talking about, and as I said, the contact information if you'd like to reach out and get in touch with any of our panelists. You'll find that in the handout. Otherwise, thank you again to everyone, panelists and audience, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Justin.
Thanks. Bye,
You're
everyone.
welcome. It was a pleasure. Goodbye, everyone.